on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 323, part number 1 for your Friday, April 24th, 2020. And if I was not going to get a copyright strike by YouTube, I would absolutely, positively play the na 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 hey hey goodbye song for you guys because I have great news. I have great news. No, Nia Jax is still employed. No, she's not terminated. No, she's not terminated yet. I know if I was in charge, I'd terminate Nia Jax. But that's just me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. I'm sorry to report that Jinder Mahal is also still employed by the WWE. How the likes of Heath Slater and Rusev and Deonna Purrazzo are all terminated, and yet these two remain on the WWE payroll. Dana Brooke as well. Dana Brooke still employed by WWE. But folks, collectively, well, maybe in Nia Jax's case, I don't want to put anything past this woman. Collectively, I don't think any of them could be as bad. I might be lying to myself there. I'm going to retract that statement because Jinder Mahal's title reign was fucking terrible. My God, it was so bad. And Nia Jax's wrestling ability, man, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I take a plastic bag that they give me at Walmart for my groceries over Nia Jax in the squared circle. Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronk is terminated. Gone from WWE. Traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to join his good friend, Tom Brady. Folks, I cannot even begin to tell you how this news just tickled me pink. It tickled me pink this week, man. I tell you. There was a smile across my face for one of the few times this week when Rob Gronkowski's name was in the headline. Finished with the WWE. It is now confirmed via multiple reports that the New England Patriots have agreed to trade Rob Gronkowski and a 7th-round draft pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Patriots would get a 4th-round draft pick. Now, I don't watch the draft. I'm sure the draft was exhilarating for those that care. I, myself, do not. Gronk said he intends to return to football, but wants to play with Tom Brady. The trade will go through pending a physical. Gronk's return to the NFL effectively nixes any plans for him to wrestle in WWE since he would likely not be able to do anything that could potentially cause an injury. The plan was for Gronk to wrestle at SummerSlam in Boston, Massachusetts. Gronk was brought in by WWE to be the host of WrestleMania, and he is the current and reigning, defending WWE 24/7, 7-Eleven. I'll take a 6-day-old hot dog with 4-day-old chili on a stale bun with a side of Doritos with an extra large Mountain Dew Slurpee title. This is excellent news, folks. Excellent news. Rob Gronkowski was a sheer embarrassment to all that existed. He was a sheer embarrassment to Smackdown Live, and they're pretty damn embarrassing as it is, folks, because of my good old buddy Bruce. He's running shit right down into the fucking grave over on Friday night. But man, oh man, when Rob Gronk came out in his debut right before WrestleMania on SmackDown, and Mojo Rawley was just unbelievable with the smiles. He's like, oh my God, man, my best friend's on TV. I'm on Cloud 9. They're finally going to push me. Right, I'm going to have a major role on WWE TV. He came dancing down the aisle. And I'm like, my God, where is the fucking remote control? Please. I cannot turn on Triple D on the Food Network fast enough, man. Seriously. Rob Gronkowski, ever since that moment, the guy, in my eyes, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well, did not belong anywhere near this show. And they're pretty damn fucking bad without him. With him, it would have been 1,000 times worse, folks. This is a blessing to all of us watching this horrendous show on Friday night. I'm glad he said yes, and then just as quick said no, and he's back playing football. That's where his heart is. That's what his love is. Just stay in the NFL, bro. If there is even an NFL season this year, I don't even know. But man, that was a great headline this week. And there's a lot of people out there that's like this move. There's a lot of people out there that liked Rob Gronkowski signing with the WWE. Oh, it brings star power. Oh, he's going to be a big name, and it's going to be that tie-in to Fox Sports, right? I heard all the fucking banter. Oh, he wasn't that bad. His name is going to get WWE in the mainstream headlines, right? But what these people fail to realize is that they tried this already with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's a big fucking athlete in his own right? He's a big name in his own right. They got Cain fucking Velasquez on Smackdown to go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar. If that didn't make a fucking headline, I don't know what the fuck will. I'm sorry. You expect me to have this fucking party boy, pretty boy, fucking loser on the show, and you want me to be excited about it? Who were they going to put him in a feud with? Who were they going to put him in the ring with at SummerSlam? Baron Corbin. By what we've seen on WWE TV, it was going to be Baron Corbin. Folks, for all those who have said, oh, this is going to bring WWE the headlines, you dodged a silver bullet, bro. You dodged a silver bullet. Now we don't have to be fucking tied down, strapped down, and fucking tortured with Rob Gronkowski and Baron Corbin at the 2020 SummerSlam. This was an excellent move. Excellent move. Maybe WWE just brought him in to, I guess, promote WrestleMania because they had nothing else going on. That's another thing that I was thinking about. Maybe he wasn't even signed at all. And if he was signed, it was a 2-night basis or a 1-night basis because they taped WrestleMania anyway, the way that they did. Maybe it was a per appearance basis and he got paid just for being the hype man or the host of WrestleMania. Either way we look at it, folks, we dodged a major bullet here with Rob Gronkowski. Awesome, awesome stuff. And please don't come to me and tell me he was going to add value or ratings or mainstream spotlight on SmackDown. Give me a break, folks. You cannot be that fucking stupid. Seriously. WWE is not going to bring in Rob Gronkowski and generate any rating. If Tyson Fury and Cain Velasquez sorry, I mispronounced it wrong. There'll be people in the comments with fucking pitchforks. If they didn't bring in ratings for those guys, what makes you think they're going to bring in ratings for Rob Gronkowski? In fact, the way that he acted on SmackDown, it would actually get people to pick up the remote control and change the fucking channel and not give a shit about WWE in any way, shape, or form. You get a Tiger Woods golf clap on the 9th hole, par 4. Birdie, right then and there. Excellent move by Rob Gronk. Stay away, stay far, far away. Guys, this is Off the Script, episode 323, part number 1. Thank you so very much for joining me here on the podcast. We got a lot to go over today. It's going to be a toned-down show because it was a toned-down week. Not much going on, so we're going to split the show into 2 sections this weekend. We're going to talk about the major news that happened this week, and that is an anonymous WWE employee, quote-unquote. We don't know who it was. It was anonymous. An anonymous employee, quote-unquote, is going to the Orlando, I guess, city of Orlando and the people in charge of Winter Park, Florida, where WWE's Performance Center is located. And he is telling government officials that WWE is forcing their employees to work through a CV pandemic. So this was big news this week, and it came out that it was actually addressed, and then WWE and Vince McMahon and their management team had to go out there and say that nobody is being forced to work. So I don't know who this person was. I don't know what their intention was. I don't even know if he was an employee of WWE. Could have been Marco Stunt for all we fucking know. Who the fuck knows who it was? But some wrestlers do not want to work the WWE Performance Center tapings, and WWE is not forcing anybody to work, but we're going to uncover all of this right here on the podcast, and we're going to go over the backstage feeling and what everybody's feeling backstage during these tapings, what business is like backstage, what AEW is thinking of WWE still running live shows, and what AEW management is thinking of WWE when they released all of their talents last week on Black Wednesday. So we're going to go over all of that right here on the podcast. Vince McMahon's mood, obviously you would be a idiot not to realize, but Vince McMahon's mood is a terrible one. And his bad mood is a running joke backstage in WWE. So we're going to go over that as well. Vince McMahon is being sued by the former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck. What is he being sued for? How much is he being sued for? What else could happen to Vince McMahon this week? But is Vince McMahon fucking Oliver Luck over? Or is Vince McMahon doing what he usually does and he is fucking over everybody else that comes across him in a business sense? So we'll see what happens there with the XFL, and we'll go over that story as well. Backstage atmosphere in the WWE, what's going on at the Performance Center, update on why WWE is going back to live, or actually taped TV shows away from live. They're not doing live anymore. And when WWE starts to tour again, what is the word backstage in WWE, and how soon is that going to happen in World Wrestling Entertainment? Plus, all of your news coming out of Smackdown of Friday's show. So we'll go over that right here on the podcast. Again, thank you guys so very much. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And it's very important, man. I got to say it at least once every video. It is very important. You guys know the deal. Hit the thumbs up. It helps not only me, it helps the channel, it helps the video out. No matter what video you're hitting the thumbs up on, it helps the video, and it puts the video in recommended. So if you guys want to do the absolute best thing for me and the growth of the channel, all you have to do is hit the thumbs up. And I've been seeing a difference. I really have been seeing a difference, and you guys are kicking ass. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and let's get it over 2,000 likes. 2,000 thumbs up on the channel. Let's get that bitch in the recommended section of YouTube. It always helps out in the SEO search on YouTube. So thank you guys for that. If you want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. If you missed any of my other videos, links are down below. We got Monday Night Raw. A lot of people shit on me for Monday Night Raw. We'll go over that tomorrow, though. We'll save the Raw and the NXT stuff and the AEW stuff for tomorrow's show. But a lot of people shit on me for my take on Monday Night Raw. Angel Garza, who I think is fantastic. Austin Theory, who I'm a big fan of. Had nothing but great things to say about Austin Theory. And Andrade, I've been a fan of Andrade's for a long time. Ever since he was in NXT doing his thing, becoming world champion down there, I've been a fan of Andrade ever since he just started hitting his stride with Zelina Vega. I mentioned on my Monday Night Raw review that they were treated like a bunch of blithering idiots. I used the word buried, and people took it out of context. Now, obviously, these people did not listen to the review, but if you watched segment 1, and then you watched segments 16 on Monday Night Raw, there's no other word to describe what you've seen better than buried. All you need to do is watch segment 1, and you knew right then and there their doomsday was upon them. So we'll go over that tomorrow, but a lot of people were very salty over my opinion. Oh, he's just throwing the word buried around. He doesn't know what it really means. Folks, I am a professional, okay? There's a reason why I do this. There's a reason why I'm a lot smarter than most of the cretins who are dissecting my videos. Oh, hi, by the way. I'm sure you guys are my biggest fans. You're watching everything that I do. What's up, guys? How you doing? It's not a sense of them being buried. It's not a sense of them being just fucking, here's the shovel and let's, bury them underneath 6 feet of dirt. Not yet, but it's heading towards that direction. And Monday, what I tried to explain to everybody, and I tried to pinpoint and describe what was going on and how it was terrible creative and it didn't make them look good at all, it's certainly heading in that direction. So you can't really fault me for that, because when has WWE ever made you believe that they were going to push young, thriving, new, fresh talent on Monday Night Raw? Do they ever handle anybody coming up from NXT in a really good manner? So what did I say that was actually wrong? Might not be buried now, but it will be buried. All you have to do is look at Ricochet, folks. Ricochet is a perfect example of what's going on with all of the NXT talent that got brought up that we thought was going to be great, and now are nothing but mid-card garbage on Monday nights. So a lot of people are upset about that, but we'll go over Monday Night Raw on Saturday's show. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at The Ridge. Ridge.com/script. I wonder if we're going to see Kevin Dunn. Kevin Dunn, my Beaver buddy, loves The Ridge, bro. He loves The Ridge. He was raving about it to his fucking Beaver friends. They were talking about it over a nice dish of fucking oak, right? So I wonder if he's going to make an appearance here on the podcast today, but he loves it. Ridge.com/script. Oh, it's not, well, I think it is script. I don't even know what the fuck's going on with myself today, man. I'm all over the place. It's ridge.com/script. I'm a goon. I don't even know my own codes. I don't even know my own codes and my own unique links. It's ridge.com/script. We'll talk about that a little bit later, see if the Beaver friend of mine wants to show face on the podcast. Anyway, let's get into the news. Let's talk about this anonymous WWE employee. All of these anonymous cretins on social media have the same thing in common with this guy. He's a fucking loser. He's a fucking loser. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he is an employee. I don't know if he's an AEW guy. He might be an AEW mark. Might be an AEW mark for all we know, who hates WWE so much that he called the government officials in Orange County and said, hey, I work for WWE. I'm being forced to work. I'm afraid of contracting the CV. So that's that. Who knows? Could be. But there was one guy that was reached out to by a website, and I think this is PW Insider, if I'm not mistaken. They spoke to one wrestler this morning who noted that there are some people who are not worried about working on the empty Performance Center shows, but there are others who do not want to work the shows at all, and they are worried if they do speak out that they are worried about getting released if they do. Now, someone was using the alias John, so someone was using the name John, who was said to be a WWE employee, reached out to Orange County, Florida officials to say that he would like to have the Performance Center show shut down, and this person has not spoken up to management out of fear of being fired. Now, the employee said in a letter to the county officials that people in the company are being forced to work the shows, and they can't maintain social distancing at the tapings. Now, I don't want to dive too much into this. I really don't. About the social distancing and about the fear of the CV. I think social distancing is a fucking farce. I really do. It pisses me off to no end. First of all, it doesn't even make sense. 6 feet makes no sense. I mean, you could be standing 10 feet, 15 feet. You could still, someone can cough and sneeze in your direction. You're still going to get the fucking CV or the flu or the cold or some type of illness. So I don't know where they came up with this 6 feet. 6 feet means nothing. Yeah, we're all wearing masks and you got to wear gloves in some states. But, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, 6 feet is not going to save you from getting anything. So the 6 feet is bullshit. Okay, I take my chances. Let me just fucking stand in line without some fucking security guard hall monitor monitoring. Oh, you're not 6 feet. You're 5.59 feet away from the person in front of you. I'm going to have you move just a step or foot back, please. Give me a break. It's bullshit. I don't know where they came up with 6 feet, but it's all a fucking farce. And WWE and their Performance Center shows, I know they're not really practicing social distancing. I mean, you could just go back to WrestleMania and look at the segment with Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley and that big pile of WWE goons for the 24/7 title. And always, they got the ringside area. They got all the commentary guys there. They got the timekeeper. They got the ring announcer. They got a camera guy or the bell ringer, right? They got a doctor. So nobody's really practicing social distancing at these shows. They got the cameramen. They got people in the back. You see when they pan out and you see the emptiness of the arena. You see people just standing next to each other. They're not really social distancing. And nobody's social distancing in the ring anyway. Doesn't even exist. Pro wrestling, we talked about this, is the one sport where if you're going to get something, you're going to get something because you're sweating on people, you're spitting on people, blood, right? It's not a safe working environment. And Vince McMahon is sitting in Gorilla with Triple H and Paul Heyman and Kevin Dunn. Kevin Dunn's sitting in the fucking truck. He's not social distancing back there. Vince McMahon's not sitting at Gorilla or in Gorilla, and he's not sitting by himself. He's sitting with all his fucking cronies, all his fucking yes men, so they can thumb their thumbs up his ass, you know? So nobody's practicing social distancing in WWE. This is a known fact. Just watch their fucking TV shows and understand that. Now, being forced to work is another thing. I don't think WWE's forcing anybody to work. They can ill afford to have people being forced to work. Now, WWE has already mentioned that, well, you don't have to show up for work, and we're not going to penalize you for not showing up to work. If you feel unsafe, by all means, you guys can stay home, and the show will go on. Doesn't matter. This guy could stay home. This top guy could stay home. That guy could stay home. She could stay home. Top talent over there in the women's division could stay home. Everybody could stay home. But they opt not to. They opt not to. Now, nobody is forced, but it might not be blatant that people are being forced to work, but they are being forced to work through fear. This is the thing, folks. This is what people don't understand, and the government officials of Orange County are not going to understand that. You could say, oh, WWE is forcing me to work. All they have to do is say, I've never said anything about forcing people to work the shows. We've already stated in a handout that went throughout the company. You're not forced to work if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't want to be here, if you would rather be with your family and follow CDC guidelines and whatever, you by all means can go. You don't want to travel, you don't have to travel. Stay home. Stay home. They're being forced to work through fear, folks. And this is fear of missing out and fear of losing their spot. You see, Vince McMahon will fuck you when you least expect it. He might say, don't worry about it, to your face, and then 6 months from now, when things are slowly getting back to normal and you're back on TV, he's going to look at you and say, you know, you were given the opportunity to stay and be a team player or go home and be with your family in quarantine and do the right thing, but you showed me that you're not a team player. Everybody else was here, but you were too good for us and you went home. Everybody else was here. You know what? We're going to bury you for the next 6 months until you learn your lesson. And then by that time, if your spot is still there and you abide by my directions and my rules, maybe we'll give you a second look. But for now, your spot is not guaranteed and you're going to fall 4 or 5 spots down the card. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're working and operating out of fear. This is common knowledge. Is Roman Reigns going to come back and get what he deserves? Of course he is. There's only one Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns can go home and stay home and be with his family. He's got an excuse, A, and B, he's the top guy in the company. WWE could not do anything to Roman Reigns to piss him off. Nothing. They'd be stupid to do so. Even though I'd like to see Roman Reigns leave and get out of WWE, possibly go to AEW, I'd love to see what type of ratings draw Roman Reigns would be for AEW. That's just me really thinking outside of the unrealistic. But either way, nothing's going to happen to Roman Reigns. And a guy like that can do that. You know, a guy like For example, let's take a Cedric Alexander. He can't do that. Hey, Vince, I'm going to be with my wife, and I'm going to be with my son or daughter, his kid, whatever. And I'm going to be home. I don't feel comfortable working. My wife doesn't like me working. She's uncomfortable. I don't want to take anything home or get anything and bring it home to my family and my kid. Fine, whatever. They send him home. He's getting TV time. Obviously, he's not going to do that. They're in the middle of a mini push, per se. So, of course, he's not going to do that. And he knows if he does that and he comes back to TV, A, he might not even have a job, and B, right back on WWE Superstars or Main Event or whatever fucking D-level show they got going on nowadays. They're operating out of fear. This is why they are being forced to work, but it's not really in the manner in which the government officials are really thinking about. It's forced to work in Vince McMahon's mentality. Not being a team player. Not being a leader in the locker room and showing up for work and really giving off the vibe to the rest of your peers in the locker room that everything is A-okay. They're going to take that. They're going to look at it. They're going to not think much of it now, but when things get back to normal, they're going to make it to be the worst thing in the fucking world. So, WWE issued the following statement to PW Insider. And I quote, "These accusations aren't true." Of course not. "Employees know they can confidently go to human resources, not the public. Notwithstanding the appropriate protocol, no one would be fired if they were uncomfortable with their surroundings. We've made accommodations for individuals upon request." End quote. Very simple, very straightforward. I believe them, but what I just explained to you is the being forced to work mentality. Now, despite holding TV tapings since last month due to the CV, WWE had initially been ruled a non-essential business in Orange County. That changed when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issued an executive order that ruled WWE as an essential business. The city is still under a stay-at-home order. Over the weekend, Kurt Hawkins' wife, I was going to say Curtis Hawkins, I guess that would be right as well, but a little bit more fancy. Over the weekend, Kurt Hawkins and his wife, Liz, posted a blog about her husband's release and noted that she was worried about him going home with the CV. She wrote, and I quote, "I went from being scared of my husband coming home from work with the CV to days later, him getting fired." End quote. According to the wrestler that sources spoke with that morning, there are other spouses of wrestlers who feel the same way as Hawkins' wife, but people are worried that their job could be on the line if they speak up to management. One wrestler said, and I quote, "Look at Roman, their biggest star, and they don't mention him anymore because he went home. I can't say anything because I need to put food on my table. Some of the people you see on Raw and Smackdown don't want to be there." This person also added, "If anything, the releases from last week make people want to speak out even less because they know Vince is looking to cut costs. Who wants to risk getting fired right now?" All goes in line with you're being forced to work out of fear, folks. They may tell you, yeah, you could go home, but they got bills to pay, they got kids to feed, they got food that needs to be on the table, they got spouses to take care of, expenses and this and that, a lifestyle to uphold. If they're not on TV, they're not getting paid. If they are going to management about their worries about the CV, they're not going to have a position when they come back and are comfortable of working in WWE. And worse yet, they may be fired because, like this one said, Vince is looking to cut costs. Now, there have been many instances of social distancing guidelines being relaxed at WWE shows. WWE announcers are often seen together, like I just mentioned, on Raw and SmackDown. Wrestlers and referees have been in the same ring for matches. And there was a spot during the WrestleMania tapings that called for Rob Gronkowski to dive off of the eagle perch there onto other performers in lieu of the 24/7 championship. So I put that in the notes. I mentioned it already, but I wanted to reiterate that. There's a reason why I put that there. So that's that, folks. They're operating out of fear. They are being forced to work, not by the pandemic crisis. They're not being told by WWE manager, you gotta work. We need everybody on staff. We need everybody in the building. It's like a regular day. Fuck the virus. But they're being forced to work because of other reasons. And that sucks. Nobody wants to come to work, A, fearful for your job, and B, fearful of speaking up for what they know is right, only to lose their place on the card or lose pay or lose a job in the future. It is a terrible situation for all that are worried during the WWE tapings. Now, Vince McMahon obviously is in a bad mood. His bad mood is a running joke backstage in WWE. Now, I, normally, just by what I hear, I usually shit on Vince McMahon 9 times out of 10. There may be 1% chance that I actually agree with him on something, which is a rarity nowadays. But if I'm working in WWE, I would know before I even step foot there on my first day to avoid, at all costs, coming within ear or eye shot of the old man. I would do everything in my power to use alternate routes to get into the building or alternate routes out of the building to go home. I would not stay too long in one spot. He might be roaming around. We don't want to be in the direction of a guy who is like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He'll eat you and then spit you out. Nobody wants that. Hundreds of WWE staff, including wrestlers, were released from their contracts last week with an anonymous WWE worker claiming he was forced to keep working the tapings. Now, outside of WWE, Vince's other venture, the XFL, failed once again. Was it anything the promotion or the company did? No. Nobody could foresee a pandemic hitting the United States when it did how it did. No matter what you believe in or not, it happened. And that's the reason for the death for a second time of the XFL. But I would assume Vince McMahon is pretty damn fucking upset. And the WWE folks, I read, and we'll talk about this tomorrow once I gather all the information, even though I'm not really up on all the financials and whatnot. It's not really my expertise or area of expertise. But WWE is $550 million in debt. Everybody thinks they're doing so well. They might be doing well on surface, but they are in debt, $550 million. Vince just closed the XFL. Vince had a WrestleMania in front of nobody in an empty gym, in an empty performance center, in a fucking warehouse for WrestleMania 36 after spending money on a set and doing this and that and this and that and getting everything ready for the biggest show of the year. Creative sucked. Everything regarding Vince McMahon is going in the shithole for 2020. And his reputation is being demoralized and fucking tarnished with every passing week. Of course, he'd be fucking mad and in a bad mood. He's fed up. And that's what Mike Johnson said. Vince McMahon is fed up. He says, and I quote, "A couple of weeks ago, Vince McMahon was a grumpy son of a bitch because of the XFL going down, and I got calls from people who knew there were people who were like, yeah, I'm going to stay out of the building for as long as I can and sit in my car or take the widest path that I can to stay out of his way and stay out of his vision." It's a running joke in the company. It's great to do well in WWE, and it's great to get a raise in a promotion, but the raise in promotion you don't want to get is the one that's going to put you in the direct sight of Vince McMahon. End quote. Mike Johnson went on to say that there is a history of people who work directly with Vince being suddenly fired, no matter what position they held until that point. Of course, he's in a bad mood. This is not anything out of the ordinary, folks. And the one thing that I am thinking about is, yeah, he's in a bad mood and for obvious reasons and things collapsing around him and him being in debt and the XFL filing for bankruptcy and him being sued and WrestleMania, all this shit. Ratings are in the fucking toilet, right? I understand all that. Stock is where it is right now. Once at $100 per share, now it's at $40 per share. All this shit. I get it. Vince McMahon is mad. But what I'm worried about is Vince McMahon being in this mood. And if he's in this mood, is he going to want to look at anybody? Is anybody, even those who are in his good graces, going to be able to talk to him, talk some sense and logic into him when things really don't make sense? And most of the time they don't. What if Vince McMahon is on the warpath so much that he just denies every other creative idea coming at him with his 40 or so writers? Nothing gets through. Nothing gets passed. Some things that are on the table, they get fucking thrown away because Vince McMahon wants what he wants. He doesn't want to listen to nobody. And if Vince is going to do something and he comes up with some wacky, shitty, fucking crazy idea, that's what we're going to see. That's what we're going to see. Vince in a bad mood probably means, more than likely, we're in for bad shows until his mood passes. And who the fuck knows when that's going to be? That's what I'm worried about. I don't give a fuck about Vince McMahon's bad mood. He's not my boss. I don't work there. But we are in for bad shows as long as his bad mood is a running joke in the WWE. Because this is going to put him in a position to not give a single fuck about anybody, and he's going to do what is best for Vince McMahon because it's Vince McMahon's way. He's got to correct it. He's not going to get anybody to help him fix what's going on. He's going to want to do it all by himself. And by that logic, the more he does by himself, the more deeper the grave or the hole gets for Vince McMahon. At some point, you're going to have to ask for help. It's not that shitty of a situation to ask for help. So we'll see what happens with Vince McMahon, especially when it comes to creative. I don't think anybody's going to help him financially, but it all starts with what we see on TV. Get the product to where it needs to be, and then maybe everything would slowly start increasing and raising from where it is right now in the doldrums. I don't get it. Vince McMahon being in a bad mood probably means more bad TV for us on Monday and Friday night. Former XFL, speaking of the XFL, Oliver Luck, the former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck, is suing Vince McMahon. Now, more details have surfaced regarding the former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck filing a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, the owner of the XFL, for wrongful termination. McMahon folded the league after 20 games due to the CV outbreak. Dave Meltzer gave an update regarding the situation on the latest episode of the Wrestling Observer Live. Although not officially known due to the documents being sealed, the belief is that Luck was supposed to get between $20 and $25 million over 5 years. That's the reason that he left his spot in the NCAA to take the job with the XFL. So right then and there, folks, I mean, how bright of an individual is Oliver Luck to walk away from what I assume, I don't know, I don't watch college sports, what I assume is a cozy position in the NCAA. Sure, he was making good money. I'm sure he was well off. I'm sure he was doing what he needed to do, stress-free, or not as much stress as working for Vince McMahon, but you get my point. To walk away from the NCAA and take a job with a promotion that already failed once and was on the lips of everybody, just having the same thing happen again. The XFL was on the lips of everybody, failing for a second time. You're going with Vince McMahon, who failed in this endeavor once. Why would you think that things would change this time with Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon somewhat knows wrestling. I wouldn't even say he knows wrestling anymore. If I was a betting man, I would not say Vince McMahon knows wrestling because wrestling right now is at the worst state it could possibly ever be in, with a CV or not, with the virus or not. WWE was not shitting gold bricks with their television programs before the virus and the pandemic hit. They were still terrible. Some of the worst television that they have ever produced in their history was Monday and Friday night. But why would you take a position with Vince McMahon knowing that he is relatively unknown? He's navigating murky waters here. You gave it a shot. Maybe Oliver Luck wanted a new job. Maybe he was sick of the NCAA. Maybe he felt like he needed a change. Maybe he wanted to challenge himself. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. People leave positions or comfy positions for one reason or another. We don't know why he left. I do know he's good friends with Vince McMahon. Maybe he trusted Vince McMahon so much that he decided, you know what, I'm going to take the gamble on this. I think you're great. I think you're a good business mind. I think we got something special here. I don't think we're going to make the same mistake twice. Let's see how this goes. And again, that could all be very true. But at the end of the day, nobody realized that a pandemic was going to sweep the United States and close the entire fucking country down. And close every major sports organization within it. Nobody knew that. Nobody predicted that. They didn't have a fucking crystal ball. So Luck was promised the money, and it was not contingent on the league surviving. He was owed the money anyway. This is what Vince told him. That's Vince's fault. That's Vince's fault. You know, it's great to have confidence. But in a situation like this, did anybody think that the XFL was going to last 5 years? Everybody said, oh, they'll get through season 1. They'll get through season 2. I don't think they'll make a season 3. I don't think they'll make it to a season 3. So, right then and there, Oliver Luck and his stupidity cost him because he believed Vince McMahon was going to be around with the XFL for 5 years. 5 years. I don't think that is the way to go about it. You take it year after year after year, and you see where you are after every season. I don't know why you would sign a 5-year fucking deal with the XFL. Guaranteed money, yes, but, I mean, it's the business world. They're cutthroat. If a league closes down and Vince McMahon signs you and brings you on board and guarantees you, this is just logic. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. Right? That's an asshole thing to do, but it's a business. It's a business thing to do. If you're signing with the XFL, it could be anybody, and Vince is guaranteeing you money, and the league closed for any reason, you should be thinking about anything and anything happening. Everything and anything happening. Are you really thinking to yourself that you're going to get the money that he promised you? Now, it might have been in writing. I don't know. But in that situation, you ain't getting the $25 million, you know? And Vince McMahon, you know, I'm not saying Vince didn't want to pay him, but with Vince McMahon and everything that's going on with Vince McMahon and him finding a loophole out of all this situation, filing for bankruptcy, closing the league so he doesn't have to pay Oliver Luck, are you surprised at all why Oliver Luck did not make the guaranteed $25 million from Vince McMahon? So now he's got no job. That's what I would be pissed about. You made me leave my cozy NCAA position to go with the XFL, a relatively unknown league, trying to fucking come back for a second attempt. That's what I would be pissed about. Fuck the money that he owed me. Now I left a cozy position to fail with you, and now I got no fucking job. It's not like he could go back to the NCAA. They probably got somebody in there right as he left to fill his position. Unbelievable. So, the reason he left, here we go. The reason he left his spot in the NCAA to take the job with the XFL is because he was supposed to get $25 million over 5 years. Luck was promised the money. It was not contingent on the league surviving. Thus, McMahon did something very interesting. Some would say shady. Of course it was shady. That was firing Luck the day before he closed the league. He ceased all communication with Luck and then sent a letter to Luck that listed all of the reasons why Luck was fired. Another interesting twist was that the McMahons actually lost little money with the league, despite telling people that he was putting in $500 million to keep the league going over 3 years. He only lost $44 million, not including the debt he owes now. McMahon loaned himself the money and is the biggest creditor listed because he loaned whatever it was, $9 million. So now he's the actual leading debt, the person that they owe the most money to. Luck isn't even on the list, nor is the executives because of just cause, essentially because they ran the company so well, but it lost way less money than anyone thought, so that's why they were fired for that reason. That's what Dave Meltzer said. Meltzer added that McMahon loaned the league money so the XFL could make the last 2 payrolls before it was announced that the league had fired everyone. Is it shady? Yes, it's shady. Is it business? Yes, it's business. Are you surprised Vince McMahon did what he did? No, I'm not surprised Vince McMahon did what he did, especially on top of everything that he's going through right now. Right now. And I'm sure Vince McMahon's going to get his boy, Jerry McDevitt, to weasel himself out of this one in Connecticut court. Right? I'm sure Vince McMahon is already, taking care of this, and it'll be settled out of court in one which way or another, because that's the way these things usually end up. So, I'm not surprised. Color me fucking blue, right? The sky is fucking blue. And I'm not surprised at all that Vince McMahon did what he did. You know, is he going to give $25 million to Oliver Luck? Here you go, bro. $25 million for your commitments to the XFL over a half a season. Of course, Vince McMahon's not going to pay him. First of all, it's Vince McMahon. Second of all, what did Oliver, no matter if he was guaranteed, if you're Oliver Luck, yes, you want the money because you were promised the money, but this is how greedy businessmen think and operate. Do you deserve the $25 million? You did not really uphold your end of the bargain because of obvious reasons as commissioner of the league. What did you do to earn and deserve the $25 million? That's what Vince McMahon was probably thinking in the back of his mind. I'm not paying this guy $25 fucking million, no matter if I promised him, so I'm going to take the fucking asshole way out. What did he realistically do as the commissioner of the XFL to warrant a $20 million, $25 million fucking paycheck from Vince McMahon? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. McMahon is an asshole. Oliver Luck is an asshole. The business world sucks. Get over it. I am sick and tired of trying to show sympathy for these fucking moguls. These moguls. How do you pronounce it? Moguls, whatever. These fucking multi-million-dollar fucking suits and ties. Oh, cry me a fucking river. Cry me a river while you're fucking quarantined in your 16-bedroom mansion with your fucking indoor and outdoor pool and 6 bars and a tennis court. Give me a fucking break, will you? Jesus Christ. Vince is an asshole. Luck is an asshole. The XFL's dead. Let's move on. This is a lesson to Vince McMahon to worry only about pro wrestling. And I'm sure the people on his side who were doing both WWE and XFL and were overloaded with all these tasks and duties and fucking responsibilities, I'm sure that some of that was bleeding into the WWE stuff. So how do you think they fucking feel? I'm sure that they're glad the XFL is fucking folded up. Nobody wants to deal with that shit. One thing and one thing only. Stay in pro wrestling. You've lost touch with pro wrestling, then you want to get into fucking football? Make sure you are the top of your game, the top of your industry, which you're not anymore. Money means nothing to me. The shows suck. WWE is at its worst state ever, and he's worried about fucking the XFL. Give me a break. Hopefully things get back to normal, and Vince can worry about his little baby known as World Wrestling Entertainment. Backstage atmosphere in WWE is business as usual. The Florida state officials in Orlando have deemed professional sports and media production essential services. This has allowed WWE to continue taping episodes of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. By the way, UFC 249 is taking place in Jacksonville, Florida. That was confirmed by Dave Meltzer as well. So UFC is now getting on board. Dana White is now getting on board with the state of Florida. And obviously they will be running shows in Florida in front of an empty arena. So that's that. They had to cancel 5 or 6 shows already, and now they're getting back in the game in front of the empty venue scenario. So Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown are essential businesses. According to who? I would love to speak with these people because Friday Night SmackDown is anything but essential. Monday Night Raw is anything but essential business on Monday night. And the company will use a mixture of live and taped programming until July. Until July. Now, maybe they know something that we don't, but listen to this, folks. With the people involved at the tapings now being designated as essential workers, Mike Johnson reported on PW Insider Elite Audio that the atmosphere backstage at shows is returning to normal and is closer to business as usual. Meaning what? Vince McMahon ripping up scripts every time he's got something handed to him and rewriting the shows within the last hour, or sometimes worse, rewriting the shows while they're live. Johnson said, and I quote, "We are told that while everyone is wearing masks, it's closer to business as usual than it had been in recent weeks because they are all considered essential employees and they're doing what they're doing." End quote. WWE programming will also continue as normal with NXT, Friday Night SmackDown tonight, and then next week they will be taping Raw, and that will be for the next 2 weeks. Tuesday, they'll be taping SmackDown for Friday, and then the week after, NXT, they'll be taping that night, and then for the week after, and so on and so forth. So that is that. It will be the model in which Vince McMahon wanted to go to. First of all, he wanted it to be taped, and then they went live because Vince McMahon made a, executive decision. Everything's got to be live just because of the TV network deals, and he didn't want to jeopardize that and have them, force his hand and maybe restructure their deal because he's guaranteeing the stockholders that money. So that's that. And now we're going to a as close to live format as possible. So it's going to be as close to live and taped, kind of on and off, on and off. So WWE programming continues as normal with NXT this week, and then Friday and then Monday is going to be the start of the new taping schedule. So we got the Cruiserweight Championship tournaments. We got Drake Maverick going one-on-one with Jake Atlas, who I didn't like at all. El Hijo de Fantasma, he will go one-on-one with Jack Gallagher. We'll talk about this tomorrow. And Kushida, I did see Kushida and Tony Nese. Awesome stuff there. And then Balor, he got taken out by what I assume is my boy Dexter Lumis. And he teamed with the Velveteen Dream against Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. And that was in the main event of the show. So that is the backstage atmosphere in WWE. Business as usual for World Wrestling Entertainment. If only they were business as usual and they produced good shows. It's business as usual every week, folks. No question. The shows always suck. So when Monday and Friday comes, you know what to expect. It's business as usual on Raw and SmackDown. Hey everybody. My name is good old Kevin Dunn. And as you see me here, I am eating a delicious slice of pizza. Now you're wondering how I paid for this pizza. And in which way I did pay for it. I actually used my Ridge wallet because my Ridge wallet has a beautiful cash strap. And all I had to do was walk up to Titus, and his pizza is delicious, man. Oh my goodness. It's about $1.99, the freshest cheese you could ever ask for. The crust is so delicious. And as you see me here munching on it, it's so good, man. It's not as good as my wood, but it's very good. And I needed a lunch break, man, so I decided to go ask Vince for about 10 minutes so I could go and have some lunch, and I took out my Ridge wallet. The Ridge is so great, man. You gotta go get yourself one. This goon JD messed up the unique link before. It's ridge.com/script. Don't take his word for it, man. Take my word for it. My name is Kevin Dunn, and I fully support the Ridge wallet, and I want to thank them for supporting Off the Script. Now, if they only made a Ridge wallet in wood, then we'd be in business. But now let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now, sticking with the story on WWE taping their shows, we went over this last week, and I'm pretty confident in the reason that I gave everybody on the podcast last week as to why WWE and Vince changed their mind yet again from live going back to taped. And a lot of the roster, I know for a fact, I don't need to talk to anybody in WWE. I know for a fact that there is a majority of the roster that does not want to be working these shows. There's some people that do want to work these shows for obvious reasons. Food on the table, family to take care of. They are just happy that they have a job and they're labeled essential workers when nobody right now is working. Most of the country is on unemployment, which is a fucking disgrace, right? Get everybody back to work is what I say. But I do know, without really talking to anybody, that the majority of the roster does not want to be there, that they want to be home with their families. And Vince going the live route, he was pretty much forcing everybody's hand through what I mentioned before in that fear. He forced everybody's hand, forced everybody to be there out of fear. You know, he might say, as a company, well, we would never force people to work. The show is due to the ongoing circumstances, but, you know, people know how Vince operates. You can't really trust Vince McMahon. The reason why Vince went back to a semi-taped format is because of everybody not wanting to work these shows. You know, they did go live, and they did what they had to do, and then he released everybody, And Vince right now is probably public enemy number one to a lot of these guys. They don't really agree with the business measures that Vince McMahon is putting the WWE through. And the layoffs, the Black Wednesday situation was the cherry on top of the cake. Vince McMahon's look was not a good one backstage in WWE, so he needed to really kind of come out and make himself look somewhat decent, you know? After all the black that was just covering him all week, he had to come out and just, peek a little ray of sunshine through to everybody. So what he did to make himself look like somewhat of a good guy, a decimal point of a good guy, is say, you know what, we're going to go back to a tape format. Everybody's going to be able to be home with their families. You come in, you do 2 sets of tapings, you'll be off that week, you come back and do it again, rinse and repeat. So the wrestlers will be on for a double set of tapings and then be off the next 2 weeks. So that's the way WWE is going about it. And I do think that's the reason. With everything that had accumulated in the week, I do think that's Vince McMahon trying to make good with his roster. The other reason for WWE going back to a taped format for Raw and SmackDown and NXT, there is a belief that WWE was taping too many shows and the TV contracts could be changed, as WWE wasn't making the real agreements with Fox and NBC Universal stand up. It was then reported that Friday, WWE is planning to film shows in advance over the next few months from a close-set performance center. This is being done to limit the travel for wrestlers, and the schedule is what we went over on SmackDown's review last week. And I just went over it briefly again here with you guys on the podcast. Despite all the changes and safety measures that the company is taking, WWE has still received criticism for pushing forward as the corona continues. I always catch myself. I can't say it because I don't really trust the YouTube gods. They'll probably strike me down with a fucking yellow icon. The CV. I'll probably get demonetized for that now, you'll see. Dave Meltzer talked about these changes on the latest Wrestling Observer Live. While not confirmed, the belief is that both networks told McMahon this past week that they wouldn't cut WWE's money as long as they air first-run programming on their weekly TV shows. Meaning, I'm assuming that means first-run programming. You got to push forward with what you're trying to tell on these shows. Don't take the cheap way out. We're not paying for WWE Network reruns of Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. We're not paying for that. Okay? We're paying for first-run programming, new programming for everybody in this day and age right now where we got no sports on TV. We're looking to you to kind of salvage that. You're the last of the Mohicans for now. So that's what they want. WWE made the call to go back to taping shows since their revenue wouldn't be impacted by it. Now, was that the first reason? Probably. But also, while Vince was worried about lining his own pocket and saving the WWE from these billions that they are guaranteed, he was also hearing whispers from the locker room. Guarantee it. He was also hearing whispers from the locker room. It might not have been people going directly to Vince McMahon, but Vince McMahon's cronies were probably hearing, and Vince McMahon's cronies went back to report to him, and he had to do something. So not only is Vince McMahon looking out for the WWE as a whole with these TV contracts, absolutely had to make himself look at least somewhat less of an asshole by going to the tape route so everybody could be home with their families, because he knows nobody wants to be working in an empty performance center and away from their families, risking themselves to go bring whatever it is back home to their families. Because that would be a PR nightmare for WWE, as already someone had CV in WWE, no longer the case now, but that really isn't making WWE look good in front of anybody right now. Anybody. So that's the update on why WWE went back to taped shows till July. Now, the WWE, I don't know when we're going to see touring again. I wish. I would actually go out there, to be honest with you. I was supposed to go to 2 concerts in May. I was supposed to go see Alter Bridge in Jersey, and then I was going to see Symphony X for their 25-year tour in Long Island. I had tickets to both, And I was excited, and it was back-to-back weeks. My two favorite bands ever. Alter Bridge. I've seen 1,000 times already. 9 times I've seen them, right? But last time I seen them, Miles was with the flu. He might have had the CV. Who the fuck knows? Wearing shades inside. He was on stage. He couldn't sing. Mark Tremonti had to sing some of the set because Miles couldn't handle some of the songs. So they played some more songs that Mark Tremonti really led the vocals on, and Miles kind of just stepped back and played guitar. Symphony X. I haven't seen Symphony X in like 6 years, right? Michael Romeo is fucking a phenom. And then you got Russell Allen, who also plays for Adrenaline Mob. Here I am going on my music thing. Adrenaline Mob was fucking dead to rights because they got in a bus accident. Nobody knew if the band would survive. Thank God most of the band and their management team and their touring team survived. Their bass player was killed, I believe. That was a couple of years ago. I was supposed to see them live. That didn't happen. And Russell Allen, one of the best voices in music, just to see them back and at full strength and maybe getting ready for new music and a new album. Man, I would put myself out there to go see them. I really would. And the fact that I'm not going to see them really sucks. And the fact that I don't have my Braves and baseball sucks. The fact that we don't have live fans in attendance at Full Sail and for Dynamite and on Raw and on Smackdown, no matter how bad those shows suck. It sucks. And for you football guys, I'm sure you want the season to start off with fans in those stadiums. For the NBA, I'm sure you guys want fans in attendance when the opening tip-off happens again in October. Same thing with NHL. You know, opening night NHL. It sucks. It sucks. But we're talking about wrestling. WWE is apparently, I don't know how true this is. Maybe they know something that I don't. Maybe they got clued in by Trump. I don't know. But WWE is starting to tour again in June. Now, the pandemic, like I just mentioned, has caused major disruption to everything. All sports across the United States, WWE programming, and AEW programming. The company has been taping episodes of Raw and SmackDown, as you guys know from the PC. They haven't held a house show since March 7th. Now, WWE has put preliminary plans in place to start touring again on June 12th. Now, this is according to a report. Now, please, these .net sites, take them with a grain of salt, really. This is according to a report, and I have a name, Chris Featherstone at WrestlingRumors.net. The April 10 episode of SmackDown in Columbus, Ohio, has been rescheduled to June 12th, and Featherstone spoke to a local ticket representative who said the company still plans to hold the show on the scheduled date. WWE.com also states that this is the date the company plans to go back on the road as the show is being advertised along with NXT house shows. The June 27 live event at Madison Square Garden. And you know how New York City is in a fucking toilet bowl of shit right now. That is also scheduled to go ahead as planned as the July 2nd house show, or as well as the July 2nd house show in Osaka, Japan. Whether or not WWE is forced to reschedule the June 12th show of SmackDown remains to be seen. Governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, announced plans to reopen the state from May 1st, but he reminded people that mass gatherings are low on the priority list. So we don't know, May 1st and June 12th. That's a whole month. That's a month and a half. Things could obviously change, and hopefully they do change for the better. That June 27th live event at Madison Square Garden is definitely not happening. Fucking dickhead Cuomo is not going to do anything for WWE or live events or anything. Any sports-related events, concerts, gatherings, beer fests, anything. It's all done. Festivals, all done. It's all done. I don't know how legit or true this news article is, but other countries are beginning the opening phases, and things might be different in those states. You know, different parts of the country are going to be opening, before others. And a lot of people are making a big stink about Atlanta. Atlanta opening. Atlanta is opening restaurants and gyms and salons and restaurants. Now, again, I don't know what's going to happen starting today all the way up until June 12th. We could be looking at a lot better of a country. I hope. We could be looking at a lot worse in the country. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. I got my doubts about whatever the fuck's going on now anyway, where I don't think it's as serious as the media and CNN and all these fucking, mainstream media news outlets are making it seem. But if WWE starts touring again, and this is coming from a ticket representative that the company still plans to hold the show scheduled on that date on June 12th, that's a great sign for things to come, And again, a lot of people are shitting on Atlanta for doing what they're doing. A lot of people are shitting on all these other states and these cities around the country opening up and starting to talk about opening up. Oh, it's too soon. It's too soon, this and that. All I have to say is this, nobody is telling you that you have to come outside. Nobody's telling you nobody's saying because they're opening the state or starting to slowly reopen the states in these cities that you have to go out there and present yourself in the middle of everybody out there in public. You don't have to do that. They're not telling you that you have to leave your house. If you are afraid of doing anything, nobody's forcing you to go outside. You are more than welcome to continue staying at home and abiding by the stay-at-home orders. But as we get closer to the summer, I want to see all of these fucking people sit inside when it's 90 degrees outside and the fucking air outside is dry and humid and you want to be by the fucking beach and you want to be by your pool and you don't want to be stuck on your fucking grandmother's couch in the fucking air conditioner. And you know how your grandmother fucking works the air conditioner. She turns that motherfucker up to about 78. It's not even fucking cool. It's not even cold. Or worse yet, my grandma didn't even turn on the air conditioner. She'd open up the front door and say, "Oh, there's a breeze. There's a breeze. I'm cold." Yeah, I'm sure you're going to want to live with that bullshit going on. July, June, August, right? Right, give me a fucking break. Oh, it's too soon. It's too soon. Too soon, my fucking balls. Everybody needs to get back to work. When the summer months come, you want to be inside or you want to be outside? Because I know where I want to be on a Saturday night. I want to be at a nice pool bar with a cold beverage in my fucking hand underneath the palm tree. I don't give a fuck what's going on. I want to be at a beer fest. I want to be in Boston for SummerSlam hanging out with you guys. I want to be at a fucking concert watching the guys that I've idolized growing up. I don't want to be stuck in the fucking house anymore. You're afraid? Stay the fuck home. Country needs to open up. People need to go back to work. Shit needs to happen. Sports need to be on TV with fucking people in attendance. Okay? Again, fuck your vaccine. Fuck your chip. Not taking your bullshit. Okay? You're not going to make anything mandatory. As soon as they make it mandatory, then people are going to start worrying, oh, well, what is this mandatory? What do you mean they're going to be forcing people to take the shot? No, I'm not. Get everybody back to work. Step one. Nobody's forcing you to leave your fucking house. You want to stay home with your fucking 78-year-old grandmother in the fucking 81-degree air conditioner, then by all means, stay home. Stay home. I'll be outside with the rest of fucking normal people. Anyway, moving on. Telling you, man, the reason why this is called Off the Script. Reason why we called it Off the Script. 5 years running, man. Anyway, AEW. What does AEW think about the roster cuts? Well, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that he's heard from a lot of people in AEW and about what AEW President Tony Khan is thinking about the locker room mess cuts in WWE. First, many wrestlers put Khan over as his leadership has been excellent through these difficult times. It was noted that Khan has gone above and beyond to make sure that everyone is taken care of and doing well. It was noted that there were a lot of concern from those on the AEW roster about the loss of work within WWE. Per the report, there were some who were also curious as to how high up the totem pole the cuts would go. Now, clearly, it didn't go too high up the totem pole. I think the most notable name that was released was Rusev, and that was it. And he had an expiring contract anyway, so, they did him a favor and let him go early. And he's got a 90-day non-compete, so what's the fucking difference? Nobody's going to be competing for 90 days, so it's a blessing in disguise, like I said. And a lot of these guys are going to find work when things open back up, when things get back to normal. Not everybody's going to sign to AEW. AEW's got their eye on the Revival. AEW's got their eye on Brian Cage. I'm still hoping for that. I think he fits in like a glove over there. They got Lance Archer. They got Brody Lee. They got Matt Hardy. I think Rusev would go well over at AEW. You know, Jim Ross mentioned Rusev in a statement online. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I could see Eric Rowan ending up in the Dark Order. And I could absolutely see AEW sign a Leo Rush and a Deonna Purrazzo. It would be foolish of them not to. You need talent like that, especially the women. You need talent. You need talent like that to bolster your division and make that weakness a little bit more of a strength. And Leo Rush and guys like that, you know, that would be a dumb fucking thing to just pass on guys like that, really. It really would. So the backstage reaction to the roster cuts is that they thought it was going to lead to AEW cutting costs. It has not been the case yet. Could still be the case. We don't know yet. But they were very curious to see how high the totem pole would go with the cuts. So obviously that ended at Rusev. It was nothing more than mid-card garbage in WWE that really was not being used anyway. And that exactly is what it ended up being. So that is the backstage reaction to AEW, or in AEW, to the WWE roster cuts on Black Wednesday last week. WWE SmackDown ratings. We'll talk about SmackDown, and we'll save Raw and NXT for the Saturday show. SmackDown hit another ratings low for 2020. You get a nice little auditorium clap from me there. Or how about this? How about this one? There you go. I hate hearing that sound. I hated hearing that fucking sound when I played Zelda, man. Believe me, you know? Anyway, SmackDown, according to Showbuzz Daily, did 2.187 million viewers on Fox last Friday, which is down from the overnight viewership of 2.192 million viewers. This is also a 5.6 decline from the previous episode of The Blue Brand, which was the post-WrestleMania 36 episode of the show, and had drawn 2.317 million viewers. WWE had returned to live television last week because their TV contracts only allowed a certain number of taped episodes, and they feared losing contracts with TV networks, Fox and NBC Universal. However, both Fox and NBC Universal have assured the company that their deals will not be affected with this change. The company has since made the decision to move back to tape shows, and it would be interesting to see how it will affect the ratings moving forward. Well, if Monday Night Raw's ratings are any indication, and NXT's ratings have been an indication, I don't think the ratings are going to really be where WWE wants them to be. Because the fans are looking at the product, and the product is not where the fans would like it to be. Pandemic or not. So that's that. If you polled me and asked me a question in regards to SmackDown last week, I don't remember. I really don't remember anything that happened on SmackDown. Now, WWE announced... Oh, here we go. I'm looking at my video. Let's see. Let me look at my video and look at my description on what had happened on SmackDown. WWE had the catchphrase for Money in the Bank. They want someone to climb the corporate ladder at Money in the Bank. That's great. You fire 100 fucking people, and then you want people to climb the corporate ladder inside Titan Tower to go grab a briefcase that's sitting on top of the fucking roof of the building. How much of a slap in the face is that to everybody that got fucking fired on Black Wednesday? And where are they getting the money to destroy the fucking Titan Tower? That's what I want to know. What are they breaking? How much damage are they going to cost? People are eventually going to have to go back to work there, I'm assuming, right? How much of the building can they fucking destroy at Money in the Bank? This is the shit I'm thinking about while I'm taking my dump in the morning after the previous night's dinner. This is what I'm thinking about. I'm sitting on the toilet, legitimately. How is WWE going to pay for all of the damages? They're $540 million in debt. How is WWE going to pay for all the damages done to Titan Tower, floor by floor by floor by floor? Or are they really moving into the new headquarters and they're going to fucking demolition derby this one? I have no idea. How did they get the Titan Tower? How did they get the floors and the setup ready for 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches? How many days did it take for them to destroy one set or destroy one night and then fix it and go back and repair it only for the women to do it all over again? Because I'm assuming both matches are going to be the same way. They're not going to leave the women out of this one. Are you kidding me? They're going to climb the corporate ladder as well. God forbid if they don't. So this is the shit that I think about when it comes to SmackDown. Now, as far as what happened on SmackDown, we got Big E, The Miz, and Jey Uso. Big E wins the tag team championships for the New Day. For what? A 9th time? Spare me. Absolutely ridiculous. There are no teams in the WWE that get pushed. Only the New Day and the Usos. That is it. Miz and Morrison are garbage. So that's that. And hopefully the tag team titles can be defended in traditional tag team fashion now. So we got Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. He surprised Braun Strowman with his old Wyatt family black sheep mask. And she was on, or he was on with Alexa Bliss. And Lexa! Come on, Lexa! The mask is black, Lexa! On a moment of piss. So when you start SmackDown off with Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss, and Nicole Cross, because I don't know who the fuck Nikki Cross is. I don't know this version of Nikki Cross. I know Nikki Cross in NXT. I don't know this version. Nicole Cross. You know, when they start the show with that, forget about it. Really a recipe for disaster. Sasha Banks lost to Tamina Snuka. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this all over again, man? Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. And Dana Brooke beats Naomi for the Money in the Bank qualifier. Yet they want to know why this show has the lowest ratings of the fucking year. SmackDown is terrible. This show is fucking awful. Absolutely awful. I don't know anybody with a right functioning brain that thinks this show is absolutely, oh my God, a 9 out of 10. They were better than last week. You got Tamina Snuka beating Sasha Banks. By default, you get 0 rating just because of that outcome. Moving on. Fuck SmackDown. Apparently, SmackDown has hackers. I wish that they would hack into fucking Bruce Pritchard's brain and maybe reprogram him to book this show in a meaningful, important way. Can these hackers do that? SmackDown hackers, Ali, or whoever the fuck it is. Some people think it's Ali. Some people think it's Chad Gable. Some people think it's a member of the New Day. Now, over the last few months on SmackDown, a hacker, Sami Callihan, reprised. Remember him from NXT? Yeah, awful. Can you look at that Sami Callihan and look at Sami Callihan now? Jesus fucking Christ, did they butcher Sami Callihan in WWE? A hacker has been appearing in mysterious segments on Friday Night SmackDown. The hacker uncovered the truth behind the Otis and Mandy Rose storyline and turns his attention to the tag teams. As of last week, some have theorized that the Locker Room hacker could be one of the New Day's members, and also Ali thrown around and Chad Gable being thrown around as well. But a lot of people right now are under the assumption that there's more than one hacker, and could this duo be planning on entering the tag team title picture? Now, someone by the name of Gwen Annabelle and James Lynch on Twitter, two social media troglodytes on Twitter, have seemingly worked out who the hackers are by adjusting the distorted voices that WWE gave them. And we heard through the magic of social media that when she uncovered the distorted voices, that it was in fact Mustafa Ali playing the hacker. That's been widely expected for a number of weeks that Ali will be revealed as the hacker. However, he won't be coming alone. There was a second voice in the clips that was decoded, and his voice was distorted, and they adjusted the voice on that distorted voice, and in the second voice, it was revealed to be Chad Gable, the former Raw, SmackDown, and NXT Tag Team Champion, has not been seen on SmackDown for a number of weeks and will seemingly return with a new gimmick. Ali and Gable have teamed together before on SmackDown, so clearly WWE is pairing them together after that little trial test run that they had. And I love seeing them when I did. I thought, you know what? They're not going anywhere singles for now, so why not pair them together? Chad Gable, a revolving door of tag teams, whether it's Bobby Roode, whether it's Jason Jordan, whether it's Mustafa Ali, who gives a shit? The guy is too good not to be on television, and WWE could use tag teams, to be perfectly honest with you. So it looks like they gave them a test run there, decided to repackage both of them, and now they're going under the whole truth gimmick. The truth will see the light or something like that. Obviously, it plays into some of what Mustafa Ali was talking about before with his old gimmick, and this is a relatively new gimmick for Chad Gable. Much better than fucking Shorty G, I'll tell you that. But there was another voice. Apparently, this hacker gimmick has now taken control over an old WWE Twitter account. Now, for those who may not remember, WWE launched a campaign to coincide with Linda McMahon's election campaign in 2010. They had a social media Twitter account dedicated to that. It has not been used since then. As WWE was not portrayed well by the media, they started a campaign for fans to show their support for the company. In the end, Linda did not win the campaign, and the campaign was swept under the rug, along with the social media account that went into isolation. Now, this account belongs to the WWE hacker or hackers involved in this storyline, which I guess WWE is using all their resources to really get this across on TV. Currently, their only tweet is the latest video from Smackdown showing an individual at a desk with clips of other stars playing on the screen. There was a clip of another distorted voice, and the other distorted voice was Xavier Woods. And it was apparently shown in one of these videos that it was set to location. And the location of this tweet, because you could see people's location in the tweet if you enable it, it was emanating from Truth and Consequences, New Mexico. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Xavier Woods, before he was even in the New Day, he was under the name of Consequences Creed. So, is he set to leave the New Day? Is he a part of a new group with Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali? I don't know. I don't really know. By that, it's very interesting because of a possible New Day breakup. Now, the New Day will still be around with Big E and Kofi Kingston, but it's going to be interesting to see how they would actually split up the New Day. And if this is the real reason for the New Day split, you got me all ears, man. You really do. Because I've been waiting for a New Day split for a very, very long time. A lot of people want Big E to go on his own because they see WWE Championship title picture potential in him. Xavier Woods is great on his own. He could leave one group and go with another, because he really wasn't being respected by his boys in the New Day, as they so gladly portray on TV every week. So maybe he found something or uncovered something via this hacker gimmick, and now he's going to bring it to light and use it against them and leave the group and join Ali and Gable here. It's a very interesting situation. It could be that. It could lead to a breakup of the New Day, or at least Xavier Woods leaving the New Day. It gives Chad Gable a new gimmick, a new start, because I think he's great. Gives Ali a new start, a new gimmick. I think he's great, right? Because looking at Chad Gable, dead in the water. He would go nowhere with that Shorty G gimmick. Mustafa Ali, there's 1,000 Mustafa Alis on the WWE roster. There's nothing about Mustafa Ali that makes him stand out that I'm not seeing on Monday Night Raw. It's the same old shit. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's athletic. Yeah, he's a great wrestler. Yeah, he could sell his ass off. Yeah, he should be better off on the roster, but it's not always going to work out that way. Maybe they do want to push him, and they were waiting for the right opportunity to do so and the right gimmick. And this is probably going to help him immensely because he needs some charisma. He needs some character. He needs something about him that's going to make him stand out on top of what we already know he can do. So I'm looking forward to this. Or it could be any one of those situations. It could lead to a three-man group in this hacker stable. Or it could be WWE just unveiling Ali as the hacker and using Gable and Xavier Woods and their voices being distorted now that they were uncovered because WWE maybe was one step ahead or 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead of the fan base because they had to figure the fans were going to decode the voices, right? It's not rocket science. It's very easy to do, to decode these distorted voices. Maybe WWE is going to make it end up being Mustafa Ali, but they're using Gable and Xavier Woods to kind of throw you off the scent. Kind of throw you off. Oh, you thought it was Ali. Now we'll throw Gable in there. He's not on TV. Nobody's thinking about Chad Gable. Oh, it's Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is not on TV. Nobody's going to think of Xavier Woods during that situation. Maybe they're doing it because it is Ali, and they want it to be Ali, and they knew the fans were going to uncover it, so they're trying to lead you off of Ali. Oh my God, what if it's Gable? Oh my God, what if it's Xavier Woods? Oh my God, what if it's all three of them in a new stable, and Xavier leads the stable, leaving the New Day? So they got you thinking 3 or 4 different other ways now, on top of the original one, which everybody thought was Ali, and only Ali. Now they got you thinking different scenarios, and they're getting you excited about it. They got you. They got you. So I think this is great. And the hacker gimmick, it may end up being some of the best stuff that we're seeing on SmackDown. As long as you got my interest, that's all I care about. As long as you pique my interest and get me intrigued, that's all I care about. Because this show is not offering any of that anywhere up and down the card. The only thing I'm intrigued by is Sasha Banks. That's it. And I'm not watching a 2-hour show on Friday night merely for Sasha Banks. So let's see what happens with this hacker gimmick. It's certainly ending up as intriguing as we all thought it would be. Can the hacker give The Miz some common sense? Can the hacker give The Miz some better wrestling skills? We don't know. I wish. Maybe he can. But The Miz says he is wrestling in front of 0 fans, and it's making him a better in-ring performer. I don't know where the fuck he gets that from, but I don't think anybody is a better in-ring performer during this time, let alone the fucking Miz. Now, if Daniel Bryan said that, or if a Shinsuke Nakamura said that, or a Cesaro said that, then I would absolutely be on board and I would be all ears. But The Miz saying that, The Miz is a gimmick that needs fan interaction. Watching The Miz wrestle is like watching your grandmother try and get up the fucking steps to go to bed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and she's 94 years old. It's fucking excruciating. The arenas in front of 0 fans are not making The Miz a better wrestler. Now, he was actually on Logan Paul's podcast, which I didn't even know. Who the fuck listens to Logan Paul's? None of you better be listening to Logan Paul's podcast. I'll tell you that right now. The Miz opened up about performing in front of no live fans. He equated it to performing in Japan, as those crowds are often quieter and concentrate on every bit of the action. So he's comparing an empty arena in the WWE Performance Center to a crowd inside the Tokyo Dome. Is this guy mental? You see, the crowds in the Tokyo Dome, yeah, they're quiet. Yeah, they're unlike American crowds, but at least they give their vocal expression during a match. You know, when The Miz, especially now, The Miz current day, I'm not talking about the older Miz. The older Miz was awesome. The Miz was great at what he did. His character was on point. Then they turned him into a fucking dancing, rapping geek with John Morrison. But him comparing an empty performance center to the Tokyo Dome or any Japan crowds over there in that part of the globe, no, they actually want to see wrestlers. Unlike you, they want to see real art being performed. They're going to speak up, and they're going to cheer, and they're going to boo, and they're going to get excited, and they're going to give their investment when it is necessary. With The Miz gets none of that at any point in his match. The Miz is just there. The Miz is not a better wrestler with the empty crowds. In fact, I haven't noticed anything about The Miz because the one thing I don't want to do is watch The Miz wrestle in an empty arena. Never mind The Miz, I don't want to watch pro wrestling in an empty arena. The Miz is not even good when there are people in the fucking arena. Are you fucking serious? The Miz pushes himself using the thought that people are at home paying just as much attention. I think The Miz is completely just idiotic, folks. This is me legitimately. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, obviously if you're watching me on YouTube, you see what I'm doing. If you're listening to me on Spotify or iTunes or Podbean or any of those other sources, I'm texting my phone right now. I got my phone in my hands and I'm just texting away. This is what I do during the Miz match. I'm paying attention. I'm at home paying just as much attention to The Miz. No, bro, you got it all wrong. When you and Morrison are on TV, I'm not paying attention. When Smackdown is on, I am not paying attention. What the fuck you're talking about? So it's actually making him better in the ring, dealing with this extra obstacle. Says, and I quote, "You got to find a different way, I guess. So you got the adrenaline, and to utilize it, it reminds me almost like I've used it like almost a Japanese crowd. You know that in the Japanese audience, they're watching and they're invested in everything you do. So in my mind, I'm just picturing people at home being invested in everything that we're doing." The Miz has lost his fucking mind. The Miz thinks that we are invested, folks. The Miz thinks that we're invested in everything that he's doing since there's no crowds in attendance. So every little maneuver counts. Nothing has changed as far as his in-ring repertoire. What has changed by the Miz? Nothing. So it's actually making me a better performer in the ring. No, it ain't. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that everybody in WWE is pushing harder than they have been, especially now. I think it's going to translate whenever that time comes that we can have an audience back, because everything that I feel like we do in the WWE, that's different. That takes us out of the box. We utilize it and say, you know what? What we did, we learn from this and how we use it when we go back to normal. So this is what he said. So the people are paying more attention to him because they're at home and not in the arena. I wanted to throw that in there because I could not believe what I had read. I laughed out loud legitimately when reading that. He's a better in-ring performer. The Miz has never been heralded as a good in-ring performer. He's gotten better without the crowd there. That does not make any logical sense at all. He's boring with or without the crowd. Finally, listen to this. I backed up one stupid story with another. Arn Anderson claims WWE management doesn't like Cesaro. Really? I could tell you that by watching the show for as long as Cesaro's been on the main roster. I could tell you that going back to his days with fucking Jack Swagger doing the We the People shit. That's when WWE, that's when I figured WWE doesn't give a fuck about this guy. Completely over. He tried to get over every which way. He was over with Tyson Kidd. Done. Tyson Kidd got hurt. It wasn't even his fault. Samoa Joe almost killed Tyson Kidd. Not because he wanted to or intended to, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles in the sport. And I'm glad that he walked away from that and is back and healthy. And now we got Cesaro and Jack Swagger. I loved that tag team. They were over as fuck. And WWE killed it. Killed it with Zeb Coulter because it wasn't supposed to be. Just like how they killed Rusev Day with Aiden English. It wasn't supposed to be, folks. From that point on, I knew Rusev was done. From that point on, I knew Cesaro was done. And Cesaro was still there. Unlike Rusev, Cesaro was still there. But Arn Anderson, being that he's with AEW now, Cody Rhodes said that Cesaro was not only one of the most underutilized wrestlers in WWE, but also on the planet. That is absolutely a factual statement by Mr. Cody Rhodes. This was followed up by Cody's manager in AEW, Arn Anderson, on his podcast as part of a 2015 Extreme Rules review. Arn perhaps revealed why Cesaro hasn't been pushed to the top of WWE despite him being easily one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and Corey Graves even said so on After the Bell, that Cesaro deserves a main event opportunity at a world title. It is a crime that he has not been given that spot. The legend and former WWE backstage agent revealed that despite being one of the best wrestlers in the entire company, WWE higher-ups don't particularly like Cesaro. Arn would go on to explain what that means, and while he wasn't sure why Cesaro isn't a favorite of WWE higher-ups, he knows that he isn't liked by management. He says, and I quote, "He's not a favorite guy, as you know, of the front office for whatever reason that is. They're the only ones that know because everyone else across the planet seems to think he is a superstar. While it's not explicitly said, one of the reasons that Cesaro may not be well liked by WWE is because he's continually had to be asked to stop doing impressive moves while he was working as a heel as the company deemed it to be too flashy. But he continued to get leaned on to stop doing all that stuff, all those impressive moves as a heel. It was just too flashy and all of that stuff. I don't understand that. Rollins is in the ring as a heel, and he still does flashy stuff. I don't understand it. Rollins is diving and flipping and this and that, and Buddy Murphy, same thing, a part of his Messiah, his camp there. He is one of the disciples of Seth Rollins. He's doing dives and flips and fucking tope suicidas, right? I mean, I'm watching NXT on Wednesday, and I'm looking at Dexter Lumis. I don't know if he's a fucking heel or a babyface, but he's diving outside the fucking ropes. He's diving over the ropes. Everybody dives. Fucking Damian Priest is doing fucking sentons off the top and sentons over the... Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me with the, we gotta ask you to stop doing the flashy moves excuse as to why they don't like him? Arn may be right, but that's not the reason. I could tell you the reason. The reason why he's not looked at as a main event guy in WWE is because he doesn't articulate himself well in the wrestling promo. He doesn't articulate himself in the art of a wrestling promo. And here's another one, and this is a ridiculous notion, but I would absolutely believe it 100%. Cesaro, in a main event spot, would have to be up against their guys. Cesaro would have to be up against their guys. Their hand-picked guys. If you got a guy like Cesaro challenging for a world title in any which way, no matter who it is, no matter what hand-picked guy it is that he's in the ring with, he's going to embarrass them. He's going to embarrass them. He's going to be better than anybody he's in the ring with. They know it. They know it. So what do they opt to do? They opt not to push him. Because it's easier. We'll give him his role. He wants to do what he's got to do. He wants to fucking do the flashy shit. He wants to show everybody how great of a wrestler he is. He could do it against the people we don't care about. But against the people that we do want to push and shove down your throats, we can't have that. We can't have that. Cesaro is going to embarrass anybody in that top spot 10 times out of 10. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, fucking Brock Lesnar. WWE won't have that. They won't have that at all. Cesaro is not being pushed, or Cesaro is looked down on by WWE management because he's too good. And if you don't think this is a thing in WWE, you're a complete blithering idiot. Cesaro is being devalued, and Cesaro is not liked by management, and Cesaro is not being pushed because he's too good. He's too good. Same thing with Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks has not been given the preferential treatment as far as a female goes in WWE over a Charlotte or over a Becky Lynch. It's because she's too good. And no, cretins, Charlotte is not all that good. Sasha is better than Charlotte Flair. Io Shirai is better than Charlotte Flair. Candice LeRae is better than Charlotte Flair. Give me a break. Charlotte is there because she's made of plastic, and Charlotte is there because she's the daughter of Ric Flair. And she's blonde, she's got big tits, and she's got no ass, and she's Barbie dolling herself up because that's what WWE looks for as the face of a division, as a billboard poster child in WWE. Cesaro is just an ordinary guy who excels at his craft, that's better than everybody else. He doesn't have the model looks that they're looking for, but he's got the in-ring style. He's too good. He doesn't speak the part they want, his look the part they want, and he's too good. Sorry, bro. You're going to have a role in WWE, but you never amount to anything. We'll put a small ceiling over you, so, that's all you're going to amount to in WWE. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's a damn shame as to why Cesaro is not pushed in WWE. And he should have been a world champion 3 times over already. And I know I would have. Cesaro could have easily been one of those guys to win a Royal Rumble, or better yet, not even win the Royal Rumble. When WWE is frantically looking for a fucking opponent for Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble before he goes on to eventually drop the fucking title like rinse and repeat every WrestleMania. Situations like that. Call upon guys like Cesaro. Give him a fucking opportunity, but they won't do it. Because Cesaro would be the one talked about out of that match more than anything, and they won't want to take that away from Brock Lesnar. Same thing goes for Rollins or Reigns or this one or that one that they put in the ring with. He's too good. He's the product of being too good. That's why he's not pushed on WWE TV. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I gave you a podcast. I didn't think I was going to give you one to this length, but I did. And Off the Script, part 1 for episode 323 is in the books. Tomorrow, we will talk about the conference call of WWE's financials. I'm not going to go over it in detail, but we will go over what WWE reported during their conference call to their shareholders on Wall Street. We'll go over the Monday Night Raw and AEW NXT ratings. News coming out of NXT on Karrion Kross, the new Killer Kross. That's his new gimmick in WWE. Why WWE released NXT talent late last week. Was it necessary? Cassius Ohno was one of them released. Is he retiring? And what is next for Cassius Ohno? Raw ratings are in. Sarah Logan being brought back to Monday Night Raw, only to be pulled out of the show last minute. News on the Revival and their new tag team name, Jinder Mahal, coming back to the WWE, and why Lana and Liv Morgan's storyline, their lesbian storyline, was dropped completely from WWE TV. Guys, I got that plus so much more on the podcast tomorrow. Might have a surprise or two as well, depending on what breaks on Friday afternoon. But join me then. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Check out all the other videos if you missed anything on the channel. Go down to the description below and check everything out. And if you want to support the podcast via Patreon as well, patreon.com/JDfromNY206, ridge.com/script. And as always, follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I will see you all right back here on Saturday for more Off the Script. Until then, I'll see you tonight for Smackdown on Fox. I pray that it's a good show. And my prayers will go unanswered. I'll see you guys later.